First of all, just overall, what's it feel like to be named the next head coach here at St. Francis?
I mean, it's an incredible honor. You know, when you go into coaching, you want to have the opportunity to make a difference. And I think one thing that's really exciting about the opportunity to coach here at St. Francis is that there is such a tradition in place. It's a place where you don't have to convince people that they should want to be good. It's coming to a place where they're able to compete on a national level and have the opportunity to just, I don't know, put some pretty good players out there on the floor and have a chance to win every night. I had a chance to meet some of the players. I think they're really excited. I think the players are geared up and ready to go out there and compete for a national championship. I feel like, you know, I'm excited about that process of getting to know these young ladies and just continue to build our relationships. I mean, we have a lot of things that need to happen. We have a lot of hard work in front of us, but I think we're all really excited to get started with everything, and I know that I'm very much honored to be here. I know that I have a good opportunity in front of me, and I want to make the best of it.
You got some big shoes to fill there with Gary Andrews leaving. Any nerves about that?
I wouldn't say that I have any nerves. I do feel like I understand that there are expectations. I do understand that, you know, there's been a lot of success here before me, but, you know, I'm to the part in my career now. I've been doing this for a while. You know, this isn't my first time I've ever been coaching. I mean, coaching at the high school level, coaching in the Northern Lakes Conference in Northern Indiana, there's a lot of pressure that go into those jobs too. I don't think that anybody out there can put more pressure on themselves than what I'm going to be putting on myself. And I don't know, I'm looking forward to the challenge. I know it's going to be a little bit different. You know, I'm someone who has always been really interested in leadership and the study of leadership. I've never said it's something that has to be in the men's game or the women's game, or even it has to be in athletics. I think leadership can happen in a lot of different arenas. This just happens to be the arena I get to do it in right now. So I wouldn't say that I have any nerves, but I would say I'm very anxious to get started and looking forward to working with everyone.
How would you characterize your coaching? Are you kind of an in-your-face type of coach, or do you take a more laid back and kind of, I don't know, well, how do you coach?
Well, you know, I'm nearly 40 years old now. When I first started coaching, I was in my lower 20s, and when I was in that, I would say I was much more of a fireball. I was someone who did get really fired up a lot of things. Now I feel like I've seen a lot on the court. I'm a lot more confident in myself, and I think what's most important isn't how loud you yell, it's can you effectively communicate. And I think with today's athletes, yeah, I mean, sometimes you're going to have to push them and you're going to have to challenge them, but most of the people who are going to play here are going to be self-motivated athletes. And so I'd like to think that my style is one of open communication, and I guess I'd rather be an effective leader than a loud leader, and hopefully, you know, we can take some of the core values that I think are most important, some of the values of the university, and get those in place. And I think if we can get bought into those core values and the things that are most important in that area, it doesn't usually take athletes at this level to push a whole lot. You don't have to get in their faces a whole lot, and hopefully, hopefully what I want is that this can be an enjoyable 4 years. I mean, yeah, there's going to be challenges and there's going to be some things that go your way and some things that don't go your way, but most importantly, it's about developing our players from where they're at and where they can be. And sometimes, you know, you have to try a bunch of different methods with a bunch of different players. I guess what I want to be able to do is treat our players fairly, give them the respect that they're due, and hopefully winning can happen in the process.
Have you talked to anyone about the difference between, have you ever coached women before? Have you talked to anyone, is there a difference other than where you can pat them after a good play?
Well, I'm someone who thinks that leadership is leadership. I think that having expectations is something that any leader should do, and if you start trying to divide it up into subgroups, men, women, I think you're just asking for trouble. Do I think that there's some unique ways that you may have to communicate? Yeah, but that wouldn't be specific to the gender. I think it's more about getting people from where they're at to where you're trying to get them to go. And like earlier, one of the things that I said was that the process of building players, the process of building a team, that's the arena that I'm in. I feel like, you know, throughout the course of my career, whether that's been through administration, whether that's been my role as a teacher, I've had a lot of work with our female students, and so, you know, that's not something that I'm really cognizantly aware of. It's just going to be something that it's just one more way we're going to have to learn to communicate, but we'll work our way through that.
Now, will you still have a role as the assistant principal? I mean, how does your job, I guess, be affected by this?
Sure. I'm going to complete the school year at Whitco High School. I'm going to continue my role as an assistant principal. That school system and that group of kids have worked incredibly hard. I don't know if the people who are watching this and know this, but Whitco High School is a school that's went from not necessarily where they would want to be to 2 straight A ratings from the state of Indiana. I feel like those teachers and those students have given their best effort. They deserve my best too. So I'll be finishing up this school year. At the conclusion of this school year, I'll resign from that position and make this a full-time position.
Finally, you served as the volunteer assistant last year with the men's program. Anything that you can pick out that maybe will help this transition be kind of seamless?
I think the thing that I was most impressed about while working with the men's program is that they did things the right way. They treated players the right way. I mean, I'm someone who believes in the player-coach relationship, and I think the men's program does an excellent job of building relationships with their players. I think they do an excellent job of recruiting the right type of kid to play at the University of St. Francis, because it does take a unique player, and it takes a unique dedication to academics and athletics. And I think that the thing that I learned from the men's side is that you can find that balance, and that balance is it's achievable. You have to get out there and you got to work for it. You got to get out there and recruit those kinds of guys. In our case, it's going to be recruiting those types of young women. And I think the other thing that I learned is that they have expectations over there about being successful, and I think those expectations are, for being successful are things that we're going to bring over here. So, you know, there are some X's and O's things that we picked up on the other side, but just from a philosophical standpoint, I love what the men do. I love their direction in handling players and getting the right players here, and I definitely hope that's something we can bring over to the women's side.